Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something really fundamental. That question of emotional versus physical intimacy. What's the real interplay?
Yeah, it's core to our connections, isn't it? We've got some interesting material to dig into.
We do. The goal is really to pull apart these two things, see how they work, and maybe figure out if one is, more crucial for that deep bond.
Right. So by the end, you listening should hopefully have a clearer picture of what makes relationships satisfying long term.
Exactly. So where does our material start us off?
Well, it jumps right into defining emotional intimacy.
And it's described as that deep closeness you feel when you're genuinely safe, understood, and really valued.
It's a powerful feeling, not just, being physically near someone.
Definitely not.
And the sources highlight some key parts of that. Feeling heard, specifically.
Which is different from just being listened to, right?
Totally. It's about your feelings actually landing. And then there's being able to confide anything without holding back.
That deep trust. Shared values are in there, too. Shared goals. That sense you're on the same team. And ultimately, it boils down to this feeling of security, comfort.
Being completely seen and accepted, flaws and all.
Exactly. That this person gets me moment.
Yeah. And the material's clear. This isn't instant.
No, it builds slowly.
Through those real conversations, maybe difficult ones sometimes.
Shared experiences, building that history together.
And just, consistently caring for each other. Mutual support.
Our sources use a great analogy here. They call it the emotional glue.
I like that.
It holds things together, especially when, life happens. Tough times.
That makes a lot of sense. That emotional bond gives you the resilience to face challenges together.
Right. And the material we're looking at argues it's really foundational, the bedrock.
Yeah, it suggests studies show emotionally connected couples are just more satisfied.
And better at conflict resolution, which, again, makes sense if you don't feel understood.
How could you possibly work through a disagreement effectively? It's almost impossible. And think long term. Physical passion, it naturally changes over time, right? It ebbs and flows.
Sure.
But that emotional connection, that's what can ideally remain constant, sustain the relationship through different life phases.
And here's something that really jumped out at me. The idea that emotional safety actually enables better physical intimacy.
How so?
Well, when you feel safe and understood emotionally, you're just more likely to be open physically, expressing desires, needs. It feels safer.
Okay. It creates a positive feedback loop.
Exactly. Which leads us nicely into the other side of the coin.
Physical intimacy.
Right. How do our sources define that?
It's described pretty broadly as, touch and bodily closeness.
So yes, sex is part of it, obviously, a significant part for many.
But it's much more than that. It's the everyday stuff, too.
Like hugging.
Kissing. Yeah, or just cuddling on the sofa, holding hands when you're walking somewhere.
Even just being physically present in the same space, comfortably.
It's a major way we show love, affection, desire through our bodies.
And there's a biological piece to this too, isn't there? The sources mention that.
Oh, definitely. Oxytocin release.
The bonding hormone.
Right. And dopamine, too. Pleasure, reward. Physical touch literally changes our brain chemistry.
Reduces stress, reinforces that feeling of attachment. It's powerful stuff.
It is. But, and this is a crucial distinction the material makes.
Go on.
Physical intimacy can enhance emotional closeness, but it doesn't guarantee it. They aren't the same thing.
Right. You can have one without the other.
And having only the physical, as we'll probably discuss, can actually feel pretty empty sometimes.
True. But let's not downplay the physical side. The sources argue it's vital.
Absolutely.
Yep.
For some people, it's their primary love language. Touch is how they feel loved.
That makes sense. And it's such powerful nonverbal communication.
A hug can say so much, can't it? Especially when words are hard to find.
Definitely. And the material even suggests that a lack of physical intimacy, it can be as damaging as a lack of emotional closeness.
That's a strong statement. It really highlights its importance.
It does. And there's another interesting angle. Physical touch can sometimes be a bridge to emotional connection.
Especially maybe for people who struggle to verbalize feelings.
Exactly. Like a gentle touch, a spontaneous hug. It can create an opening, a sense of safety that allows for deeper sharing later.
Okay, so we've got emotional intimacy as this foundation, this glue, safety, understanding.
And physical intimacy as this expressive language, this biological connector, vital for many.
So the big question, which one matters more? Where do the sources land?
Well, they acknowledge it's not quite that simple. It really depends.
On the individuals,
Yeah.
a specific relationship.
Yeah. Personal preferences, needs, the dynamic between the partners, it all plays a role. There's no single formula.
Well, is there a general trend identified?
There is. The material suggests that, generally speaking, emotional intimacy tends to be more foundational for most long-term healthy relationships.
It provides the trust and safety.
That makes the physical side feel meaningful, sustainable.
Right. A relationship built on that emotional bedrock is just more resilient, isn't it? When life throws curveballs.
Definitely. And then the sources talk about what happens when there's an imbalance, when one is missing.
What are the consequences?
Well, if you have physical intimacy but lack the emotional, it can feel hollow.
Mechanical, maybe?
Yeah. You could be right next to someone physically but feel incredibly lonely. That's quite a thought.
It really is. And the other way around. Strong emotional bond, but no physical connection.
The material suggests partners can feel neglected, undesired, disconnected.
If you love each other deeply on an emotional level.
Apparently, yes. That lack of physical connection can still create a significant feeling that something essential is missing. Dissatisfaction.
So it sounds like the takeaway isn't really which one, but more.
We need both. For most people, for true fulfillment in a romantic partnership, you really need both working together.
It's a both-and situation, not either-or.
Precisely. Which leads to the practical side. How do we actually cultivate both? Our sources had some ideas.
Right. Actionable steps. Communication has to be top of the list, surely.
Absolutely. Open, honest talk about needs, fears, boundaries, both emotional and physical.
It sounds basic, but it's hard work sometimes. Consistently doing it.
Oh, for sure. The sources suggest things like using I feel statements helps keep the conversation open, less defensive.
Good tip. And then there's being present. Quality time without distractions.
Huge for emotional intimacy. Put the phones away. Get your partner your actual attention.
Creates that space for real interaction.
And on the physical side, it's not just about sex. The material stresses intentional, non-sexual touch.
Like holding hands, back rubs.
Yeah. A squeeze of the hand during a conversation. Those small things add up, reinforce the connection.
They really do. And vulnerability is key too, isn't it? For the emotional side.
Absolutely essential. Sharing your inner world thoughts, feelings, insecurities. And making space for your partner to do the same. That builds incredible trust.
It does. And one last point the sources make.
Don't be afraid to seek help.
Exactly. If intimacy, either kind, feels consistently difficult or strained, professional support can make a real difference. There's no shame in it.
Absolutely not. So wrapping this up, it seems clear that healthy relationships really thrive when both emotional and physical intimacy are nurtured. They work together.
They're interconnected. You can't really separate them entirely in a fulfilling partnership.
And while everyone's needs are different, the material we looked at really does emphasize that foundational role of emotional intimacy.
It's the bedrock. Builds trust, nurtures love deeply, helps weather the storms.
Right. So maybe a final thought for you, the listener.
Take a moment. Reflect on the balance in your own relationships. How are emotional and physical intimacy showing up?
Are you actively cultivating both? And maybe think about how consciously nurturing both aspects could lead to, well, even deeper connection and resilience.
Definitely something worth pondering.